We are live.
This is the Champaign-Urbana Mass Transit District Board meeting. It is Wednesday, April 29th, 2026 at 3 p.m. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Lyle? Here. Brown?
Here.
Fasella?
Present.
Friedman?
Here.
Nudo?
Here.
Ula? Barnes?
Here.
Quorum present.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve the agenda as distributed?
So moved. Second.
Been moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Next on the agenda is audience participation. There doesn't seem to be anyone in the audience to address the board. We'll be moving on to the next agenda item. Is there a motion to approve the Champaign-Urbana Mass Transit District Board meeting minutes from March 25th, 2026, open session?
So moved. Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Also, is there a motion to approve the Champaign-Urbana Mass Transit District Board meeting minutes from March 25th, 2025, closed session?
So moved. Did we see those yet?
No, I didn't see it. I got it. I'm sorry.
Oh, you're good.
So moved. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next, we'll move on to communications. Are there any communications from the board? Seeing none. Next is the Managing Director's report. Amy is here today.
Good afternoon. My name is Amy Snyder, and I'm the Deputy Managing Director. Carl Gannett is not here today, so it is my honor to give you the report and join you in today's board meeting. So these are the stats for the month of March. And we've got monthly ridership to start. Ridership is up 6% over last year with 1,154,000 rides. And the year-to-date ridership overall is up 4% with over 9.3 million rides so far for fiscal year 2026. Moving on to operating revenue. March 2026 operating revenue was 2% below March of last year, and our year-to-date operating revenue is 0.2% above fiscal year 2025. And our monthly operating expenses for March 2026 were 4.5% above March of 2025. And then our year-to-date operating expenses are 3.1% above this time last year.
Amy?
Yes.
Do you have any comments as to why we're down 2%?
You're referring to the operating revenue?
Yeah.
Mostly it's due to a reduction in investment income. And so we had been noting that each month for several months now. And so I asked myself the same question. So that isn't reflected in your notes, but that's the chief reason for that change.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and our year-to-date revenue expenses, overall, operating revenue is up 1.6 million over budget, and then our operating expenses are under budget by 3,497,000. And with that, I will take any of your questions through page 36.
Questions from the board? Okay, hearing none. We'll move on now to action items. The first action item is to consider ordinance 2026-8 and ordinance repealing ordinance 2026-5. Is there any discussion here?
I'll just give a brief context. So action items A, B, and C are effectively reflecting the same thing, which trustees should be aware of through a prior communication. We are repealing the ordinances that you passed last month, which would have annexed these 3 areas detailed in the ordinances, but due to our lack of awareness of a change in the Open Meetings Act law that went into effect January 1st, we held the public hearing on an election day, which as of January 1st is prohibited. Well, this is a public hearing and not a public meeting. Staff felt that the spirit of the amendment to the Open Meetings Act could be interpreted as not being in that spirit. So we're just redoing the process. So that's what these 3 ordinances are starting the ability for us to redo the process and have a fresh public hearing.
Are there any comments or questions from the board?
Move to approve the 3 repealing ordinances.
We have to do those separately.
I'll make a motion to repeal ordinance number 2026-8.
Okay, is there a second?
Yes.
It's been moved and seconded. Will the
Hold on,
clerk-
just a moment. Mr. Fischel, I think you meant to say you moved to approve an ordinance repealing.
Yeah, so I move to approve ordinance number 2026-8, which repeals ordinance number 2026-5.
There we go.
Do I have a second?
Thank you. Okay, will the clerk please call the roll?
Need a second.
I did.
Yep.
Lyle? Yes. Brown?
Yes.
Casella?
Aye.
Friedman?
Yes.
Nudo?
Yes.
Barnes?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Our next action item is to consider ordinance 2026-9 and ordinance repealing ordinance 2026-6.
I would move that we approve ordinance number 2026-9.
Second.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Lyle? Yes. Brown?
Yes.
Casella?
Yes.
Friedman?
Yes.
Nudo?
Yes.
Barnes?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Our next action item is to consider ordinance 2026-10 and ordinance repealing ordinance 2026-7. Is there a motion to approve 2026-10?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Lyle? Yes. Brown?
Yes.
Casella?
Yes.
Friedman?
Yes.
Nudo?
Yes.
Barnes?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Our next action item is to consider Resolution 2026-6, setting a public hearing for an annexation of Cherry Hills.
I would move to approve resolution number 2026-6.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Lyle? Yes. Brown?
Yes.
Casella?
Yes.
Friedman?
Yes.
Nudo?
Yes.
Barnes?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Our next action item is to consider Resolution 2026-7, setting a public hearing for an annexation of Illinois Power American Services Tract. Is there a motion to approve 2026-7?
Seconded.
It's been moved and seconded. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Lyle? Yes. Brown?
Yes.
Casella?
Yes.
Friedman?
Yes.
Nudo?
Yes.
Barnes?
Yes.
Motion carries.
And our next action item is to consider Resolution 2026-8, setting a public hearing for an annexation of Liberty on the Lake subdivision.
So moved.
Second.
It's Been moved and seconded. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Lyle? Yes. Brown?
Yes.
Casella?
Yes.
Friedman?
Yes.
Nudo?
Yes.
Barnes?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, our next action item is to consider approval of the Developmental Services Center, DSC, annual agreement. Is there any question or any discussion?
I can just briefly say, this is, as the action item states, an annual activity of the board to renew the agreement that we have with DSC. They provide paratransit service to their clients with expertise and care, and this is a very much valued agreement and a partnership that staff works very hard to maintain, and we look forward to another year.
And my understanding is that there are no changes in the agreement. It remains the same.
That's correct, just the dollars.
And it's my understanding that this allows DSC to take advantage of the DOPE, the Downstate Operating Grants, so we're able to help a really great local organization provide these services at a greatly reduced cost with state assistance through MTD.
Yeah, they become eligible for those funds through working with MTD.
Yeah, I would move that we approve this.
Okay. It's been moved and seconded. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Lyle?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Casella?
Yes.
Friedman?
Yes.
Nudo?
Yes.
Barnes?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Similarly, our next action item is to consider approval of the 2026-2027 Urbana School District number 116 Transportation Agreement Renewal. Is there a motion to approve the 2026-27 Urbana School District 116 Transportation Agreement Renewal?
As I make a motion to approve, I'll once again point out to any taxpayers that are watching this that this is another way MTD is able to reduce costs for other taxing bodies, because the Downstate Operating Grant is helping to pay to bring students to Urbana schools, so the school district doesn't have to pay the full cost, and the kids are learning all about how to ride public transit for their future experience. So I'd move that we approve this.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Lyle? Yes. Brown?
Yes.
Casella?
Yes.
Friedman?
Yes.
Nudo?
Yes.
Barnes?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Our next action item is to consider approval of the 2026-2027 Champaign Unit 4 School District Transportation Agreement Renewal. Is there any discussion?
Move
Is there a motion?
I'll second George's.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Lyle?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Casella?
Yes.
Friedman?
Yes.
Nudo?
Yes.
Barnes?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Our next action item is to consider approval of the wayside sign replacement. Looks like we are going to have some comments and discussion.
Yeah, as our technology services director gets settled, I just want to orient you in the packet really quickly. Pages 64 through 67 are what you are considering today, and we've provided for you, starting on page 68, the background competitive process we went through, that the board then approved this vendor. And so if you wanted that background context, we've provided that. And so Ryan will speak about what you're considering today.
Yeah, good afternoon. I'm Ryan Blackman, Technology Services Director here at MTD. So this action item is recommending that the board authorize the Managing Director to issue a purchase order to Urban Solar for $158,142 for the purchase of 11 e-ink wayside signs. So these are signs that will replace, primarily replace very old LED wayside signs that were installed around 2005. So we've gotten very good life out of our existing wayside signs that these are replacing. Unfortunately, those signs are old enough that we can no longer get replacement parts. Essentially, we can no longer service them. So when they have started to have issues due to their age, we've essentially had to take them out of service due to a lack of replacement parts. So these are the signs you can see out on the platforms downstairs here at the terminal. These were the signs that were previously installed at Lincoln Square Mall on the garage side, so across the street from our larger kiosk, and at a few other locations around the community. Those are primarily what we're talking about replacing here. What we are proposing to replace them with are new e-ink signs, so rather than using LED technology, which is the little amber pin light kind of dots that show the time, e-ink is a totally different technology. It's not backlit, so it works really well in bright sunlight on a sunny summer day that we have here, and is very low power, so we can install them. These signs are all battery powered, and they'll run on a battery for about 5 years without any need of replacement, or with a small solar panel, they'll run indefinitely. So they don't require any additional infrastructure to install them, which is really nice because it allows us to install them at stops that we may not otherwise have the infrastructure to support them. As Amy mentioned, we went through a competitive procurement to select this sign vendor. The procurement did not obligate us to purchase any signs. It was just a master supply agreement to select a vendor that we could buy signs from at a set price. So that the vendor we selected is Urban Solar, who is the vendor we have proposed here for this initial purchase. Don, I don't know if you can, or Sasha, I don't know if you can flip over, and I've got some pictures of what these signs will look like. So the large sign there on the far right is a 28-inch e-ink sign that we would be proposing to install several of at Lincoln Square. That's one of our, kind of key stops in downtown Urbana. This sign has 4 buttons you see there at the bottom. Those would be used for audio enunciation for visually impaired passengers, as well as the ability to page through static content, so we can put up our timetables and maps and that sort of thing on the signs, as well as the real-time information, which would be their primary purpose. The sign in the middle there is a smaller 13-inch sign. That would be the sort of sign that we could install inside of a bus shelter. And then on the far left there is, these aren't to scale, I should say, is a standalone enunciator button. So that would be paired with this sign in the middle there that would be used to enunciate the departures that were being visually shown on the sign. And then if you could go to the next slide, Don. This is the sign that we would be installing here at Illinois Terminal. Important to note, the sign shown here has a color screen. We would be installing, like I said, an e-ink screen, but it would be the exact same housing shown here, just with a different screen inside of it. Also, I guess worth noting, these signs would be powder-coated in MTD blue, so they kind of have the MTD sort of branding and look to them as well. So happy to take any questions about the signs or the procurement process or anything else.
2 things. So my understanding is these are similar to, you ever seen an Amazon Kindle with the e-ink, right?
Yes, same technology for the screen.
So that's good. And then the other thing I'd throw in there is, I haven't checked the tariffs in a while, but last time I looked at one of my Ameren commercial accounts, just the meter fee was either $40 or $50 a month, just to have the meter, no power usage at all. So, you're talking, $600 a year just to have a power meter for a stop. So being able to do these with the battery and solar, I guess we might still need to have power for lighting, but there are a lot of locations where we've never been able to get power, and that's kept us from putting any kind of electronic signs up. You just have a poster. So this is really cool that the technology's advanced to the point where we don't need a meter, we don't need an easement to get conduit to the stop, to be able to just drop these in and have them powered with a battery and a small solar array and potentially work for 5 years. That sounds really good to me.
Yeah, that's something I'm very excited about. I mean, I've been involved in a number of discussions about, where to place some of these passenger amenities, and part of that discussion is always, well, can we get power there? Can we get network there? Can we get, the infrastructure to actually support the amenity there? And I'm very excited that with these signs, that piece of the puzzle is solved, and we can just make the decision based on what stops warrant those amenities just on their own merits.
Any other questions or comments?
Just a quick comment, Brian. It was very thorough. Your evaluation committee did a great job, and it was well written, so it allowed us to follow your process. Very well done.
Thank you. I can't take any credit for the evaluation memo that was done by our procurement team, who do a fantastic job with these competitive bids.
Anything else? Okay, is there a motion to approve the wayside sign replacement?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Lyle,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Vasella,
Yes.
Friedman, Nudo,
Yes.
Barnes.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, our final action item is to consider approval of the annual update to the Public Transportation Safety Plan, otherwise known as PTASP. Are there any questions or comments regarding this action item?
Just to keep with the theme for April, which is annual updates, apparently, this agenda. Brendan Sennett, our Safety and Training Director, is here with his annual update to the Public Transportation Agency Safety Plan. We do have some newer trustees, and I'm sure Brendan's chomping at the bit just to give an overview of the plan. I know that it's a substantial document, so he could just give you a brief overview, and then if there's any questions, of course, we can answer them.
Just a question, preliminary question. Do I assume correctly that the yellow marks are the changes and everything else is the same? Thank you.
So as Amy was saying, this is our Public Transportation Agency Safety Plan. This is probably the 6th year that we are required to have it. This all came kind of during the heart of the pandemic when we were required to have this. We actually opted into the requirement. At the time, we didn't have 100 buses in peak service, but now we do. So back then it made it optional, but now since we do, it's required. And this plan basically outlines what MTD does to manage risk. It talks about our implementation of a safety management system, also known as SMS. It talks about the pillars involved with that, and details processes that we undertake to document any changes that we make to our safety program. So some of the changes that we have in this most recent revision, it looks a little bit different from years past because we've updated it to the digitally accessible template, so that we can comply with future accessibility guidelines. The majority of the revision was generally routine. There's the annual recalculation of our safety performance measures, and then we took some time kind of clarifying some of our longer sections so that they'd be easier to understand. Any questions?
Is this Accident Prevention Committee a new committee?
Yes and no. We used to have an event review committee, which focused on solely accidents that meet MTD reporting thresholds. We've since kind of expanded the scope of that to include employee injuries, facility inspections, and hazard reporting to have a more comprehensive review of district safety.
This is slightly off the subject, but how have the trends been in our safety efforts over the past few years and months?
We're actually doing quite well. So each year we set forth safety performance targets. They're a 5% improvement based on our rolling 5-year average of our safety performance measures. So our 2025 current safety performance that you'll see on page 17, if you compare that to our targets for calendar year 26, you'll actually see that our 2025 performance met or exceeds the goals for this upcoming year. So, and then if you look at our performance, our 2025 performance compared to the targets that we established the year before, we met 30 of the 36 targets, so which is pretty good. And then we had similar success the year before, where we met 31 of the 36 targets. So great. So it's doing pretty well. One thing to note, though, at safety performance, is the way that it's calculated in the CFR. It's not necessarily isolated to MTD's performance. Safety is more of a reflection of our operating environment. So NTD has, or the National Transit Database has certain thresholds or criteria for mandatory safety reporting, and it's purely objective. So one of the things that they don't account for is fault, blame, culpability, however you want to call it. So, so let's just say we have a bus that stopped at a red light and a car is traveling at a high rate of speed and it rear ends us, and all the people in that car go to the hospital. A couple of passengers from our bus goes to the hospital. Even though we're not at fault, that accident by itself meets the criteria for mandatory safety reporting, and that's going to cause our data to be inflated, even though we had no fault in the accident.
I am curious, how many close calls a year are reported?
Close call reporting is, we probably have maybe two to three, and that's, a culture topic that we're trying to improve. We're really communicating to our workforce that, we can learn a lot from close calls. So, trying to give them the kind of confidence to report those to us. We have it in our policy that, there's going to be no discipline involved as long as there's no recklessness involved, so that we can try to learn from those mistakes. Because the only difference between a close call and an accident is the outcome. I wonder if there's a
stigma attached to it that, they wouldn't want to report it with the thought that they would be chastised.
That's pretty common, because it's for the longest time, it's, you're only... You get in trouble for things that people know about, right? As people don't know, you can't get in trouble. So we're definitely trying to shift from that.
Thank you.
It's just a minor point. I'm curious, what is the purchased transit metrics that are on there? What is that reference?
So that would be our DRES and DSC service providers.
Any other questions or comments?
I guess, Phil, since you brought up the point, in order for them to share in our dope dollars, they have to be held to our requirements. Yep.
Okay, well, thank you, Brendan.
Might give some merchandise swag if they report a close call, just to...
Maybe it has a branding problem. Needs a new name.
Okay, is there a motion to approve the annual update to the Public Transportation Safety Plan?
So moved.
I just have one small suggestion. This alphabet soup of MBDO, DRDO, DRPT, I had to really hunt to find the definitions of those things, without which the tables are meaningless. You might see if you can fix that for next year's version.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor in a second. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Lyle?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Fasella?
Aye.
Friedman?
Yes.
Nudo?
Yes.
Barnes?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, the next regular Board of Trustees meeting will be on Wednesday, May 27th, 2026 at 3 p.m. here at the Illinois Terminal, 45 East University in Champaign. Do I hear a motion to adjourn this meeting?
So moved.
It's been moved. And a second?
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded. Those in